Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
I don't even need the earplugs.
you. Yeah. So, did you get all that?
Yeah, so I got Edward Scissorhands. What's the one to your left?
My left is Logan, and then
Oh, yeah.
Take Shelter,
Oh,
and
I love that movie.
Moon, and then Assassination of Jesse James. Yeah,
Oh, I love that. What's the one right above you?
Moon.
Oh, Moon. I don't know Moon.
Moon is the Duncan Jones movie with Sam Rockwell.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. Nice little indie film. Well, congrats, Arian, on
Thanks,
inventing an.
man.
Yeah, it was an amazing series. I yeah, powered through it, uh, as one does. So what drew you to this project?
Shonda Rhimes.
Yeah.
When I heard that Shonda Rhimes was, writing a new show about a scammer, I was like, well, I'm intrigued immediately. She is so, she just knows what people want, and so there's a great place of that. And then, when I read, I didn't really know. All I remember of Anna Delvey was just the headlines, and I live in New York, so I remember vividly on the newsstands, like looking and seeing like, Soho grifter, or like fake German heiress. And then I read the pilot and I couldn't believe it. And then I read the article and I really couldn't believe it. And then, now here we are.
Yeah, it's really. I think your role is obviously integral in telling the story. And in researching that role, did you have the opportunity to meet Todd?
Yeah, I didn't meet Todd before starting the role. You know how sometimes like the world kind of like is like guiding you. But 2 weeks before my audition, I did 12 days of grand jury duty.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So weird. And
Yeah.
also the year prior, my company, my nonprofit Waterwell,
Mhm.
was doing a reenactment of a deportation case in which I personally edited down transcripts to do of a court trial. And so I had a great sense of transcripts. And so when Shondaland handed over like the research packet,
Mhm.
there was like a folder or something of like transcripts, and I wasn't even planning on it. I just like clicked on one just to be like, let's see what happens. And it's like cross-examination of Rachel. And I think I vaguely remember starting there and clicking on that. And then I just started reading them all
Wow.
because it's really, I got a sense of who Todd was in the courtroom.
Mhm.
I got a sense of like when he said objection, when he made a joke, when the jokes didn't land, when he interrupts people, how he interrupts people, his charisma in the room. You can kind of tell he was kind of amazing at this and
Right,
born to do this.
right.
Um, and he's wicked smart. So that was my big, and again, if I'm being honest, I wasn't planning on any of this. That's just kind of what happened. Like I just kind of went with the journey, and then I had these 12 days of grand jury duty, which was really kind of telling. And I understand why people say like everyone should do grand or jury duty. It's because the system is fucking crazy. The system is nuts, and the way that we prosecute and the way that we charge people. Is crazy. And so I had already a feeling of like, why are they overcharging Anna Delvey right now? Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I kind of approached it. And then in the halfway, we read, we did this show pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, and I got very lucky, Alex, like very, very lucky. But the ninth episode and the vast majority of the courtroom episodes of the last episode, I shot kind of like right before the shutdown.
Oh, wow.
I think my last day of, I think my like closing argument was, I think my closing argument was like March 10th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Right.
like right before I got to get all those out there. And so, and I read that script February, like the month prior. So I had like a month of like working on what I knew from the jump, because Shonda and the writing team and Betsy and all the producers were kind of like, the ninth episode is kind of Todd's episode. And so I was like preparing for something kind of like fun and meaty. I didn't realize it would be this kind of delicious.
Yeah, that's incredible. And the acting all around is just so good.
Thanks,
Um,
man.
the fact that everyone in the show is able to convey that these people are really just giving everything and bending over backwards for Anna, even after she's already been caught, is really amazing. It really, and your character, Todd almost gave his life for this job.
Mhm.
It really, and I was wondering what this dynamic really informed you about the power of Anna and your character.
Jessica Pressler early on, Alex, said that by the end of the trial, that she and Todd were like Anna's mom and dad. And I latched onto that. You know what I mean? I really latched onto that idea. And at the end of the day, there's so much evidence inside the script, and also so much what I remember just from talking to Jessica was how lonely Anna is. And we forget because she's so, she tries to put on this aura of like, boss and like, CEO, but she's also just a kid. I mean, she really is just a kid. And so, and in a way, I think that goes to show Todd's actual humanity and the humanity that Shonda put in there. And what I tried to, at the end of the day, no matter how much you might think that this lady deserves what she got, someone's about to go to jail for 4 years, and a human being that for something that's kind of like, the banks are the ones that signed off, like some of it just feels muddy. It
Yeah.
feels like a little muddy. Like it seems like they were overcharged. I kind of vaguely remember there was a scene with me and the amazing Rebecca Henderson that got cut from it, where I remember him asking her, I was like, why are you overcharging her? Like, why are you? And she's like, well, we want to fucking put the whole book on her. And it's like, why? Like, why are you, and so I latched onto those things, that and by the end, in that bit you've seen, I'm guessing, Alex, you've seen all of you've seen episode 9 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get to see him really kind of tell her off,
Yeah.
tell her what everyone's kind of thinking. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? A. B, do you believe your actual lies? Like, do you believe this? Because that's, if answer is yes, sociopath, but answer is no, con artist. If it's the middle, like, what do you do? What's the game plan? And really talking about the father figure being like, are you crazy? She's not coming here. He has
Yeah.
nothing to do with you. Like, stop using it as an excuse. And so by having an ability to like have all those things be verbalized, which I think is so much of what the audience is wanting to know, I think it's a genius of both the real Todd and I think of Shonda and the writing team, and I think it really kind of like exemplifies how human these people are. It's really amazing. I didn't even really realize this when I was reading it. But if you watch the show, everyone is like Anna.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone is using some sort of thing to climb up some sort of fucking ladder. She's like, you ruined my reputation in that blowout scene. You ruined my reputation. And he's like, fuck your reputation. You ruined my reputation.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Vivian what does Vivian try to do? Like prove to the world that she's not a hack journalist. Again, Shonda has an ability to kind of like subtly put all those things in and make it so accessible.
Yeah, that moment is so satisfying too. I mean, that where you tell her off, because you're right. It's all the things that the audience both wants to scream at her and also ask, but also there's also a level of empathy that the audience feels for her for sure, because there's a little bit of her in all of us, like you're saying. And I think that the whole thing that you're saying, like, okay, that we want to pin this whole thing on someone. Everyone in this was a little bit guilty. I mean, some a lot more than others. And so I think that this whole story is really not so much like a damnation of, oh, what Anna did. It's really kind of like a damnation of kind of how the ruling class really just sort of ate it up, and how everyone sort of lampooned Anna
Onto it.
after. Yeah.
Mostly because she put out an exterior image that people wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
People, you know, if you and I were to go to a party and an Anna Delvey type is there and has like the world's greatest architect and the world's greatest restaurateur and the world's greatest blah, 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 blah in a room, why the fuck would we think she would be I mean, she's got the people in the room. I mean, they're there. Right. Yeah, I mean, and also I think what Shauna does, it's not just on the ruling class, but it's also how the exterior image is the ruling class in a weird way. Like we are, right. We think more about the post now in our brains than enjoying the Grand Canyon, that old cartoon or something where they're like looking at the Grand Canyon and the bubblehead is like Instagram post.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know about you, but I've been a fan of Anna Chlumsky's since My Girl. I mean,
mine too.
Yeah, 31 years later, she is just as formidable as ever. And Julia Garner recently burst onto the scene, semi-recently, and is already blowing minds. I mean, in Ozark, she's just a force.
I just finished the last episode. Are you caught up?
Yeah, I'm caught up on
that last episode. Is fucking fire, dude.
Wow,
it's so good.
Yeah, her monologue towards the end there is just it sends chills down the spine when she yells at Wendy. Yeah. So what was it like sharing scenes with these two? And
awesome.
I might preface that by saying even with these two, you still managed to be a scene stealer and stand out.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. At least go, toe to toe as well.
Yeah, I mean, there, all of the ingredients were there, right? You have great fucking writing. Yeah. You have these two phenom actors, actresses, and the writing is there. And so, I think Anna Chlumsky's My Girl was one of my first crushes. So, to start there. But we're in the theater, man. We're in the theater. We're both theater nerds. I know that sounds, I don't know if you've ever done theater, but like the theater nerd backstage vibe is like, you either, you know it very well. So like, that's a really kind of like easy place. And with Julia, I love actors that give a fuck, and she gives a fuck. Mm-hmm. Like she cares and she wants to go hard, and that scene, there was so much pressure from me. I mean, I was nervous. Like I want to fucking do this scene right. But also I have a different process than other people do. And, one of them is like, I don't want to break up that scene. Like I want to do the whole scene. And Julia was like, I want to do the whole scene at once. So every take, we did the entirety of the 8 pages. Damn. Not like breaking it up, like piece by piece. And that gave us confidence to maneuver a room, to kind of like be free. Ellen Curris was the director of that episode, and she really just kind of like let us be free in there, I really, for that scene specifically, I really wanted to go through a bunch of feelings. Do you know what I mean? I wanted him to fucking feel bad. Do you know what I mean? Like when you like yell at your mom or your kid or whoever, whatever the thing is, all of a sudden you're like, why did I do that? You know what I mean? I wanted to also feel that energy in there as well. And then also like we had to move on. So the arc of that really kind of was just in the trust that Julia and I had with one another, and just let it be. Like, I don't think we planned anything out. I think we just let it fly. And I remember after one of the first takes, I went up to her, I'm like, you cannot be this young and this good. Not fair to the rest of human society, man.
It's so true. Yeah.
But she's and even the Chlumsky scenes, like that last scene Chlumsky and I have by the Brooklyn Bridge, like the two of us like screaming at each other, like there's so much of we have want to exert all of this energy and not knowing where it all lands is kind of okay. Do you know what I mean? Not preparing where it's going to be. I didn't know that I was going to get so flustered in the room with the Julia Garner scene. I didn't realize that I was going to get so like fucking angry at her. But when she starts screaming at me, it's like, how can you be screaming at me right now?
Right, exactly.
After what you fucking put everyone through, how can you be so like organically? All that stuff kind of like played itself out, I think.
Yeah, no, totally. It's and also, yeah, the fatherly sort of a nature over Anna, the character of Anna, really it translates as well. So, and I think the term rising star, which I think you're already a household name, sort of become like overnight. But like I've always thought the term like rising star is like an oversimplification of like the work that people do, and kind of places an overimportance on like the notion of like bankability. So and basically like by that I mean like you're already a leading man who's playing a lot of supporting roles leading up to like leading roles right now. Do you feel the same?
I think that, with regards to like leading role or supporting role, I think what's really kind of exciting is that's happening right now is that I feel I have the trust of what I believe are great writers. I think I really am trying to, work alongside great writers. I mean, we are genuinely Succession and Shonda Rhimes and Inventing Anna and Sam Boyd's Love Life and whatchamacallit and Spider-Man.
Right.
They are all benefit from like really great writing. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to like underestimate that. And so what I'm looking for more than leading man or anything else is that great writing. And what's happening right now is I'm getting access to more and more of those kind of scripts, which I love. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I definitely want a challenge and I want something fresh and new, but I also have, a writing and directing career, and I had my own TV show kind of like picked up and acquired by Topic. And so like, I'm like right now, navigating where it all might lead. I think, I know it sounds crazy, but like I really genuinely, if the next acting job, I really want to just work along someone that's just like another great writer. I think that will be the key. Maybe it's a leading role, maybe it's not. I don't really think of it in that way, oddly. But I do know what your question means, because in a way I can tell that those scripts are coming towards me a little bit more right now. So I'm just really excited to see what kind of like collaboration is up and running, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Stewie in season 4 of Succession.
Yeah.
No idea.
I think we all are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your company, Waterwell, I want to touch upon that. If that's all right. It's conception and productions, and your goal short and long term. And I really love the fact that you have sort of like a artistic preservation sort of motive behind it, and you're also providing work to veterans and
correct.
So on top of that, do you see Waterwell being sort of like a theatrical extension of film preservationism?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way of putting it. I mean, Waterwell is the reason I'm even talking to you, or I'm in a Shonda Rhimes show, is because of Waterwell. I mean, when I was 22, I graduated Indiana University, and even though I thought I could be a cool actor, I didn't have anyone to look. There were no Iranians to look up to that was doing the work that I wanted to do, A, and B, that were getting anything meaty. You know, most of the stuff was like tertiary or terrorist number 5 or victim number 6. And so I didn't want to pursue any of that. And also I had a real ambition, and I do still to this day, that civic minded art and education is kind of like the future of the world. And so in 2002, we co-founded this company that's 20 years old now, and runs an entire school on 48th Street in Midtown Manhattan, which I still teach seniors monologue classes, which I have for over a decade. And we do artistic work like The Courtroom, which is like civic minded, that like deals with complex issues. And in 2019, the show that Waterwell kind of produced called The Courtroom was considered one of the best shows by the New York Times of the year. I mean, that's the truth. And it's not because we were trying to even go after the theater community. We go after the communities in which the stories are about. And sometimes it's in the veteran world. We did a show a few years back called Fleet Week Follies, in which we did a whole day of like kids activities and free music from like the New York cultural folks for the veterans, then servicemen and women that were here during Fleet Week in Manhattan. So that's kind of the stuff that really I fill my days up, Alex, with. I'm still heavily involved with, and I basically do like 70 to 80% of my week is doing that kind of stuff. And the acting portion of it, you know, I'm very particular with the type of work that I want to put out there. I'm very excited to work with great writers. I've since 25 or 26 documented, like, have not done terrorist roles, and which in the first 10 years or so didn't give me a lot of opportunities. You know, there was not that many roles. Right. And so I ended up doing a bunch of theater and found my community in there. And so in a way, I say that to say that I feel Waterwell wants to continue on doing what we've been doing for 20 years, like civically teaching and creating work that like better society through art, you know? And I really think that's kind of like, I know it sounds crazy because you just saw me inventing it, but that really is what I am about.
No, yeah, no, it shows for sure. And you know, obviously, you seem incredibly passionate about it. And, you know, you touched upon it, but like, you know, obviously, especially post 9/11, we don't, obviously, people like us haven't had the most meaty roles. They tend to be typecast as like, you know, terrorist or bad guy number 1 or
victim, you know, like they can't have no say, and they're just like getting it on the chin and running or something.
Right. And I think, you know, you coming from a theater background, you've aligned yourself with people who have created a lot more in-depth and multifaceted roles. Like, you know, for instance, the Bengal tiger at the Baghdad Zoo, guards at the Taj, and the humans. And I think, you know, Rajiv Joseph and there you go. I didn't
even realize.
Rajiv Joseph and Stefan Karam, you know, they created really these great characters in those.
Yeah, I think what you're leaning towards, that I just want to like highlight, is that in the theater community, there is more interest in finding depth and empathy in people that are suffering. Bengal Tiger was written in 2008 or 9, but it was about the beginning of the war in 2003 through the eyes of an Iraqi interpreter. Wow. You know what I mean? And that character, and then opposite, Robin Williams on Broadway. And the two of us starred on this show with like amazing actors, and only in the theater was that kind of work being put out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was written by our members of the MENA community, that was really going for depth and not like, and depth and empathy and engagement and like real kind of stakes for these people, and how, and you know, Bengal Tiger, I played like this translator from Iraq, and I was so desperately trying to like make him as real as humanly possible. But at the end of the day, he was just this artist that was now stuck being the grunt worker of these soldiers and like defacing everything he has. And so, where is that story in film and TV?
I know, and in 2003, like that's incredible. Like you would have never.
I just want to say I did the play in 2009, 10, 11, but it was about 2003.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even 2009. But yeah, taking place in 2003. That's so current. And that's something other question that I wanted to ask, because Robin Williams, not only is he a Bay Area local, but he's one of the all-time greats. Just I mean, it goes without saying. What was it like sharing the stage with him? Hanging out backstage? Do you have any stories that come to mind? Rehearsal or
I mean, he was really. Yeah, our dressing rooms were right next to each other. We genuinely were friends. I mean, we were. He cares about so many people, Alex. I mean, the stories I could tell you. I mean, I can tell you a million amazing stories, but one that I always repeat is it's at the Richard Rodgers, and at the end of the show, if you put your name on some sort of list, if some of the cast members, you can come onto the stage and wait for the cast to come out. And every once in a blue moon, there'd be someone there that was like not from the theater community, definitely not a New Yorker, and you'd be like, what is this? Whose friend is this? You know what I mean? And then you go up to him and like, I remember this one guy was a black guy with a mohawk and a bunch of earrings and a leather jacket. I was like, are you friend? Who's your friend? He's like, Robin. And I found out later that like, they were like, he was like his sponsor or something. You know what I mean? Like, Robin picked Bengal Tiger of all the shows he could have done on Broadway. He picked this show because he thought it represented, all the veterans and the servicemen and women that have PTSD. He and my wife threw me my 31st surprise birthday party. I mean, like we went to his 60th birthday. I mean, he was a dear friend and a real confidant. And the last time I spoke to him, I called him up because I was about to do a show with a movie with Barry Levinson and Bill Murray called Rock the Casbah, and just kind of getting advice on Barry. And he was so complimentary. And I was doing a Hamlet and that Waterwell was producing that was set in like 1917 Tehran. So he asked so many questions about it. He was curious. He was empathetic. He cared about people. He was really funny. He was really insecure. He was really fearful. He was regular. He was super regular. I remember true story. I remember in between acts, sometimes he'd like come into my, I just got a little, I don't know what it said. Last thing I'll say about this is that I remember sometimes during, like an intermission or something, he'd come into my dressing room and close the door behind me. And he's like, how do you think Act 1 is going? And I'd be like, it's going well. And he goes, I tried something new. I was like, that was amazing. And, and I could realize, and he did that like maybe like, I don't know, like 6 to a dozen times or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I realized in the middle of it, like every other actor, he is like, are we good? Are we doing well? Like the insecurities are always present, and that was a real lesson for me. It was, I've been very lucky, man. Like I've worked with some of the greatest of the greats, and I try to take a little bit of their legacy and kind of like push it forward. And Robin was definitely one of those. He was just a good man.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that little anecdote about him popping in your room. That's so.
Yeah, he was always like, how do you think it's going? I'm like, it's good. And I realized, I was like, oh, he wants to make sure that I feel like that he's doing good work. And I'd be like, you're great, Robin. You're great. But just like you and I fucking do. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, hey, do you like this?
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is, I guess, a two-part question. You got two characters going forward. Your character in No Way Home and Stewie in Succession. where do you see your character? Where do you want your character in No Way Home to go going forward if it were to move forward? Do you want yourself to become a superhero somehow? Because anything goes in the MCU. And in season 4, we've got the children finally aligned against Logan and Tom and Greg. So
Children v Logan, Greg, Tom, and the Whisperer.
right. So Stewie kind of has a choice to make. Are the kids the smarter choice? Is Logan the smarter choice? So those are
there's also, it's all, the amazing thing about Jesse and the writing staff of Succession, it's all so subtle, but there is evidence in there.
Yeah.
Because in that second to last episode, it seemed like Stewie was more into the Mattson deal than Sandy with an I was.
Okay.
There's a little bit of like, he's like, well, if you want to bury the deal, Logan says, well, if you want to bury the deal, then go ahead and bury it. And Stewie's like, well, I didn't say that. So there is a little evidence there. That being said, Logan is volatile.
Yeah.
Logan is a sure winner, but he's always won, but he's volatile. And Mattson's fucking crazy volatile because Stewie also says he's going to like trip balls, tweet some kind of crazy ass thing again. So, but Sandy and Stewie have 4 board seats that cannot now all of a sudden come into, what do I want? What I really want is just to act with all new. I just want to like act with everyone in the show. So I really am. My only want is selfish to like. I want to do a scene with just Jay and I. I want to do a scene with Sarah Snook and I. Nicholas, Tom, Matthew McFadden.
Right.
So what do I want is all just selfish Arian like scenes with them. But I have no idea where it's going to go, and I don't want to know. I'm not. Like you, I mean, like, I don't like spoilers. I don't want to fucking know what happens. Like, I want to watch the thing and see what happens. So, like, I say this all the time, but like one of the pure joys is opening up an episode of Succession for a table read or a Zoom table read. I mean, that is a true joy of life. So I'm looking forward to the next one. I mean, they're in the writing room now. Whatever it will be, Alex, it will be brilliant because they are brilliant.
Right. They never fail.
No, they won't fail. With No Way Home, I mean, I'm game for anything.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not be? It's
I would love any version. I think the Department of Defense is really kind of exciting. I think John Watts. I almost called him Jon Snow. Jon Snow. John Watts. And Chris and the writers and all that of No Way Home like really set up this Agent Cleary to be really like fun and delicious. And like, it was a cool like thing that we got to do. And it was, real like fun acting scenes. Do you know what I mean?
So is he Shield's?
He's technically his own division. He's all damage control. That he's all Department of Damage Control. How that kind of like fits in with Shields, I don't think it does. But real experts have to like look at that and know it is. But it's its own division, and really there is very little of it. There is a comic. There was 4 comics that came out, I want to say in the 80s, called Damage Control. And they were just these cleaners, that like went around and like cleaned up the fucking mess that all these Marvel folks put them into. So there should be a spin-off series called Damage Control where Agent Cleary is running around like he's in, the movie Heat.
Dude, absolutely. They got to make that.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. And I guess last 2 questions is, what's your acting philosophy, since that seems to be sort of a hot topic. What actors, I don't know I forget what the idiom is, sort of how the sausage is made. And what are your future goals? I know you're also a writer and director. So what projects short term are you?
Yeah, I mean, as a writer, I'm working on this like kind of like epic 1953 kind of like CIA Iranian coup story, and working alongside more information on that. That show, The Courtroom, that we were talking about, we're in works of making, which was Waterwell did a reenactment of a deportation case called The Courtroom. We're trying to like soon going to give some information about the movie version of that. Which we're kind of excited about. Yeah, the show The Accidental Wolf that I wrote and directed just was acquired by Topic. So on those realms, like I have a bunch of projects that I'm working on, like writing wise. Acting wise, I want a challenge. I want something fun and new and like something that like I've never done before. I love to do something that is kind of like what Waterwell tries to do is to like make art that's kind of like, kind of like better society. So I think there's an Afghan story that I want to kind of I would love to play an Afghan character right now in some sort of, translator piece after doing Bengal Tiger. I would love to do something like that. And I would love to play some like big old characters, something with like, completely left turn it, again, with the theater prior to Succession, like I basically only had Iraqi or Iranian accents in everything. And then The Humans happened on Broadway, and which I got to play like basically like a Lebanese guy that was just, and then that led to Succession. And so I kind of want to like do something outside of, the box a little bit, something fun and meaty and really kind of, unique. And I'm looking to work with like great people. There's my dad, we're Iranian immigrants, and as you know, and my dad always said as a young age, he was like, just surround yourself with people that are way smarter and way better than you. That's kind of what I do. That's kind of my whole game plan. So hopefully that whatever the next piece is involves a little bit of that.
There you go. And are you more traditional theater, learning lines and reciting, or are you a little bit of method?
I'm the worst at learning lines. I'm the absolute worst at it. I have a hard time. I have to work really, really hard. When I'm on set, I like a set to be like really relaxed. I don't love the like exterior pressures of like speed up and go over here. And so like, I just like it a little like less chaotic. And I also, I really try to focus, I just like really focusing on that text. Because A, it's the hardest thing for me, and B, that's the thing that people are going to like latch onto. So in inventing Anna, those opening and closing monologues, I mean, some of which are stripped from the transcripts. I really wanted to be pitch fucking perfect with those. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wanted every word that Shonda and Matt Byrne wrote to be like exact. And so I focused my energies on that. And like I said to you earlier, like I'm all about the hang, man. I like the backstage vibe.
Right.
So, like hanging out is part of it as well.
Well, we have to wrap this up, but thank you so much. And you gotta play some Armenian characters too, my friend.
Oh, would love that.
I think whenever that goes public, you gotta.
Yeah, I'll get on that. Well, that sounds exactly right.
I might recommend you for that. So
please do, Alex. You get 10%. I'm saying it.
Yeah, and I got a few scripts with Armenian characters. If they ever gain traction, boom.
Please, I would love that.
You.
I love that. Thank
you so much for
Thanks, Alex, man. Thank you for reaching out, and thank you for all this.
Yeah, of course, man. And enjoy the rest of your day, and take care. All right.
I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.